bother to let them know that you're dead. What the hell they should do? Say your prayers and beg for forgiveness. The reaper is rising and you're on the checklist. You can run but you cannot hide. Your ending was closer and death is on your side. Your decision, your life has made it hard for you to survive. Count your chickens, accept your losses. You are the reason for the nails in your coffin. Shame, shame, I know your name, my bitch.
Have you ever wanted to own your own Kiss shower curtain? Today, I'm going to tell you how you may be able to buy one on Podcast Rock City Live.
Podcast Rock City.
What's up, everybody? Joe here from Podcast Rock City, and with me this week is Sonny Hollywood Pony.
What's up, people? NFL, baby, it's back.
I know, you're so excited. Now, right down there is our guest this week. He's going to be with us the whole time. That right there, you guys know, he's currently in about 649 bands. He is so popular.
Give or take a few. Give or take a
few. But currently he is touring with Accept, and we're going to talk about that. That is Philip Shouse. How you doing, Phil?
Joe, Sonny, good to see you guys again. I always love being on here.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So we've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to go right to the news because there is some Kiss news, and we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about why Philip is here.
Podcast Rock City News.
So I guess Kiss is done with their Australian tour. I've watched a whole bunch of video. The cool thing about Australia is when their shows are starting, I'm just waking up. So usually about 7 in the morning here. Sonny's already up for 4 hours at that point. But at about 7 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden I'm getting, messages saying, hey, Kiss is live, and listeners and friends from Australia. Now, I know you guys are super busy, but did you have a chance to see any of the footage?
Oh, from the Kiss stuff, a little bit. Yeah, I cut out again. I'm having the worst internet problems like ever. So I apologize if I'm cutting out.
That's okay. We'll do what we can.
Yeah, we kept up with it. If it's the good thing about that is you can see things and keep track of things in any time zone and, all over the world, whenever it's happening. So, yeah, it was fun to see the Australian stuff. And I had a friend doing some wine stuff with Paul down there.
Wow.
Yeah, he was busy on the tour as well.
Australia has waited so long. The last time Kiss performed there, Paul wasn't with them, and they were performing for Great White Sharks. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah. On the tugboat.
On a tugboat.
Is that kind of when they jumped the shark, or is it?
Yeah.
No pun intended. Yes, absolutely. I do believe that that's what that was. To be fair for the Australians, especially if you're watching today, I mean, you guys were super into Kiss finally being the crazy thing about that is they're still so huge there that they're on the TV, they're on the paper, they're on magazines, they're being interviewed for news stories. Here in the US, they don't get that even nearly that kind of respect. Why do you think that is, Sonny, that they're still so big over there?
From everything that I read, I see, I hear from guys on tour like Phil, abroad, they're just more loyal. That's just all there is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love America. I wouldn't live anywhere else, but come on. We're not the most loyal fans on the planet. And I just don't know if there's that many choices in some of these places. And then when a band is embraced by a country abroad. It seems like they're embraced forever. And it just doesn't feel like you get that in the US.
Now, Phil, you played with Gene in Australia, correct?
That's right. We did the Gene and Ace tour down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what was that like, fan wise?
Oh, fan wise, it was great. I think all the shows were. I mean, I think they were all sold out, if not all sold out. Yeah, the response was amazing. We were, of course, Australia was large and the Kiss legend, so we were really excited to go down there with two of the guys in the band, and yeah, they didn't disappoint. They were all great shows.
That is awesome. I'm waiting on a package. I'll talk all about it, but I have one of our listeners and friends on Facebook. I put out a thing that said, "Hey, I want a t-shirt from Australia," and it's on the way here. So as soon as I get it, I will show it off and tell the story about how I got it and what I had to trade for it. Naked pictures. I don't know what the problem is.
Joe's
I'm not going to tell you. No.
He did it.
You have to use a wide angle for that, though.
Wow. All righty. There we go.
Anyway, so we'll talk all about that. The other thing, Kiss off the soundboard, Des Moines came out. Sonny, did you hear it yet?
Yeah, it sounded all right. These soundboard things aren't exactly knocking me off my feet, to be honest with you. Like, Paul doesn't sound great, but we don't know if Des Moines like the 18th show in 24 days, right? Even the banter was kind of meh. But I get it. I mean, it's out there. It's cool that it's the original four. It's cool to hear Ace piercing through the mix. Like, all that stuff's cool, but nothing about these soundboard things are really blowing me away.
Phil, have you? I mean, you're a big Kiss fan, so have you heard all of these? Any of these at all?
This is the first one that I've actually been interested in, the 77 one. And I kind of like listening to old bootlegs like that because the difference in the banter is my favorite thing about it. It's like Paul will say different things, and it's just kind of different to hear little changes in that and little changes in solos, you know, so because we know Alive and Alive 2 so well.
Sure.
And to hear Alive from those kind of periods, it's a little bit different. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you a couple of things that really so, all right. So we all know that we talked about the Donington one, and then the Donington one, when Ace was, doing his solo, it was funny because he walked up to the microphone and said, "Hey, make some noise. I'm about to blow some shit up." That was funny. Okay. Okay. And this one, something that really, man, it made me go, holy crap, this is from a long time ago. Paul Stanley says, "Let me see some lights. So he's talking about lighters. But then all of a sudden he goes, "Let me see some matches." And I'm thinking to myself, there were literally people in the crowd holding up little son of a bitch. Another one. I was like, if you think about it, if we could go back to that date and walk in as like a time traveler and go, one day, all you're going to do is hit the light on your phone and go, they're going to be like, what the no way. It's so funny. But the other thing that caught me off guard, I saved right here for you guys. I've never heard this happen on a Kiss show. It was after Peter sang Beth. Okay. And I probably own, Sonny, how many bootlegs do I own?
Good Lord. 480,000?
Okay, so I've never heard this before. Listen to this.
All right, Des Moines, Peter and Chris, Ace Frehley, Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley.
So, all right. You heard that okay, guys?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before. Peter finished singing Beth. I guess he might have walked off stage. The announcer, and forgive me, I can't think of who the announcer was then. I believe he's passed away since then. Although I hope I didn't just say.
That wasn't JR, was it? JR?
No. That was the guy.
Was that Eddie? Was that Eddie or no?
From I think it was Eddie actually from Alive
Okay.
2. So
Yeah.
Okay,
I've
yeah.
never heard that before, and I guess they all came out and they announced them. Here they are: Peter Criss, Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley, Paul Stanley. That caught me off guard. I looked at my phone like when he said "all right," I went, "Oh my god, did it start over already?" I was like, "Beth was the last song." That was kind of strange, right?
That is strange. Do you, Joe? Do you have any bootlegs like around like the days prior and the days after that show?
I do. I'll have to look and see if they were still doing that. But it was just so strange, just so strange because
That's
I've
bizarre.
never heard them do that before.
Hmm.
So that was kind of a tasty little treat, man. That's something a little different than we're used to seeing. Sonny, you did listen to this?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's cool that it's out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a huge bootleg guy. I'm just not a huge bootleg fan. Never have been. And but Phil's right though. The banter, like, when it comes to shooting, we ain't gonna miss. Love Gun. I'm like, damn, I'd much rather have Animal Live live uncensored.
It's like he was still making notes. Like that didn't work. We'll tweak that a little bit for tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's just so strange. Now I'm really hoping, although I do not have my my hopes up, but I'm hoping that we could get a Eric Carr, Bruce Kulick era soundboard recording. I think that would be good. We've got the other ones covered. Okay, we've got the reunion tour covered. We've got the Tommy and Eric Singer covered. We've got the so that was Donington was the reunion. We've got Tokyo was Ace and Eric Singer, and now we have the 77, I think it's 77 or 78 covered original band with the original, the way the tour set list would have been, because Kiss did not start their tour with their shows with Detroit Rock City. At least you can always find out right here in this book by Kurt Gooch, everybody. I'm just saying.
I've got the mobile version.
Oh, do you? That's awesome. But yeah.
But Phil, on these live albums, like maybe I'm solo on this, but I would rather have it to where it gets in the studio, the levels are all fixed and you can hear everything. I don't want it like you're in the studio and there's live pumped in. Like I don't want it that bad. I don't want like how Alive 2 was done. But I do want the levels fixed and I want it mixed right. And I don't think I want it straight off the soundboard because for some reason it doesn't hit my ears right.
Yeah, soundboard recordings are always kind of the pretty harsh to listen to even if you're in the band, like that's being recorded, listen to it going, God, does this sound just like that? Like it never does. So yeah, they're a bit of a thing. I do like the rawness, but overall, like I like, live albums. How much you guys might know this? The King Biscuit Flower Hour, right?
Yeah.
That old show. Those always to me sounded like those are the best sounding live albums, and I wonder how much of that was mixed or fixed at all, or if it was just the truck sounded amazing. I'm about that, but I don't know. That was like the best mobile
That's
recording
a good
truck.
question. That is a good question.
Because I know that some of the there was which show is it? Cleveland, I think. Some of the Cleveland show from '75 got used for Alive, and that was the King Biscuit show. So some of the Alive bass tracks are King Biscuit. Those always sounded great.
Yeah. If you could, Phil, if you could walk into Kiss's office and go, all right, this is the bootleg that's coming out next for Off the Soundboard. What would you want?
Oh, man, that's a good... Oh, man, where do I start? It would be original. I don't know. There's so many out though.
Right.
We can access a lot of them already.
Right. But okay. Well, how about this? How about, okay. So I have a couple of the ones that came out already. I had them. Okay. But but they were cleaned up a teeny bit. They said, maybe, how about this? It wasn't somebody sitting with a tape recorder in the crowd recording compared to what Kiss has been releasing. So, like, for me, I think I would really like maybe Eric Carr's first show at the Palladium. I think that would be a lot of fun to have. I think that I would like to have we've talked about this before on the show. I would love to have the concert that they played at Magic Mountain for when they were filming for Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. I'm not sure if that was a whole concert, but I think I would like to hear that. That's the kind of stuff I'd like to hear. And then, of course, God bless him, give Bruce a soundboard recording out, just not the Animalized Live Uncensored. We've heard that. Let's
right.
shoot for something else.
They've got those in the can. They'll do a couple of those for sure.
And we're missing we haven't really seen a Mark St. John show.
Right.
We haven't seen one.
There's two. I know I own two. I have two Mark St. John. It's basically a tape recorder in a crowd. You can tell that it's not Bruce Kulick playing guitar because it's two different styles. But so yeah, man, a Mark St. John, man, that would be kind of cool. I'm just saying. All right, so enough of that. Let's go ahead and get to some very important news. Today, I was sitting in my living room, and all of a sudden, I clicked on a video to watch Phil in his bathroom, in front of
Sounds horribly dirty, but it's not. People.
Was that a pay-per-view?
That's my OnlyFans page, actually.
I can tell you this. He assured us while we were watching that his pants were on. He did admit to be sitting on the toilet. His backdrop was his shower curtain. Basically he said, "Hey, I'm going to sell all my Kiss stuff." So I of course will be tuned in for this because as you can see in my room, I'm mental.
Mental is putting it lightly. It's beyond mental.
I have problems. But Phil, tell everybody what's going on with Kiss Live Auctions, right? KLA?
Yeah, it's going to be on KLA September 20th at 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm selling my Kiss collection. Most of it's in boxes in the closet anyway, so it's time to get rid of some things and downsize. And the rock and roll over shower curtain that I have in that bathroom is one of the many items I'm going to get to that night. And I'm also going to be joined by Ryan and Jeremy from the Talisman. So they're going to be on there with me.
That will be awesome. So, all right. So you're going to, so like how vintage stuff, like a coin?
Some vintage stuff. I'll give you a sneak preview. The high dollar items I think I have. I've got the Ace belt buckle.
Okay.
The one where he's on the side and it's got his first name.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I've got that one. It isn't in the best condition. It's got some scratches and some of the gold binding, but I've got it. I've got a Kiss Army vest from the early 90s, the fist one, not the finger.
Wow. Gotcha.
But I've got that. I've got a 1980 Gene mirror, like a carnival party.
Oh, wow,
mirror.
Cool.
And so it must be Australian if it's 1980. So yeah, I got a couple of cool things. And I've got, I know people are going to ask, but anything that I got like from the guys while we were doing the thing is signed. I'm keeping that. This is pretty special to me. So don't really have any of that stuff, but I have a lot more, some new stuff, some older stuff, some stuff I've had for decades. So
that is awesome. I will tell you that in my vault over here, when I opened it, and it had that special little compartment in the bottom, I had a set list from your show in Australia with Gene. And
cool.
And at the Rockin' Pod a couple years ago, I brought it, and you guys signed it for me.
Awesome.
And but when I pulled that out, it came with the Australian ticket, the ticket for Australia, plus the thing. Jeremy looked at it when he was about to sign it. He goes, I wrote this. I was like,
Oh
that's
yeah,
awesome.
Jeremy had the best handwriting of all three of us, or all four of us. So he had to write the set list, and it was his responsibility to write Gene's lyric poster boards.
Oh, really?
Because he had,
That's
that was his job to write all those out.
That
Why
is
not
awesome.
just do a teleprompter? Why the poster boards?
It seems easier, but it's not. It's really not, because then you got to get the thing, get it set. He's got to be able to see it. You got to get somebody to run it, and you got to get someone to run it that knows the material. So it was easier for the poster board, because trust me, we went over that a lot. We're like, there's got to be an easier way, but that was just kind of what we ended up doing.
Wow.
Yeah. I know that I was on the cruise one time, second Kiss cruise. I was right up against the stage, and I looked right here, and there was a teleprompter. I remember thinking, I don't know how he doesn't know the words to these songs. He's been singing them my whole life. But, I guess that, you get up there and you get into the thing, and then, it's just one of those things.
The Kiss ones he was okay with, like Shout It Out Loud, and the ones that they do a lot in the set, he was fine. It was all the other ones that he hadn't sang some of those since he recorded them. So, like, Charisma, Got Love for Sale, he's probably not going to remember those. So we had to have lyrics for all that stuff.
So, all right. So, listen, I'm getting some questions for you. So I believe somebody asked, are you still sponsored by Vintage Guitars?
With Vintage, I never really was sponsored officially. It was a good relationship, and I liked their stuff. So I guess yes. But with Accept, I play Framus, because Wolf Hoffman has his own signature flying V with Framus, and there's no way I wasn't going to play a flying V in that band. So
of course,
I just use it has to be that way. So I use Wolf's Framuses, and they're fantastic guitars. But no, Vintage is great. I've got the bass I played with Ace. That blue J bass looking thing was a Vintage, and it's one of the best basses I've played.
Okay, so and we're still in the news because we still got a lot of other stuff to talk about. Last night I saw you playing live.
Yeah, we had the Kiss Cancer Goodbye benefit here in Nashville.
Yeah, and how did that go?
Went fantastic. It was really fun to see everybody again, because I hadn't seen everybody in a really long time, and to play music. And I never got a final tally of the money that got raised, but I think it did very, very well. And Brian Bell did a great thing. One of the organizers, Brian, he matched every single winning bid. So
wow.
Up to I think $15,000 he was going to double. So yeah, I think it did very, very well. There were some high dollar items going. So yeah, it was a really, really good night.
Also, so Steve Wright here, we know him. He does a show, but we don't care about it.
Wow.
I'm not going to say it. Sonny, tell him the show.
Hotter Than Hell.
Yeah, whatever.
Hotter Than Hell podcast.
Whatever.
Good name.
Just kidding. We love Steve. He's a firefighter, and he puts his life out, at risk every day. He's amazing. Although by now he's like, hey, you go fight that fire. I'm sure he's been. So he has this thing here about, it says, thanks for pushing Gene to do the deep tracks. Was that hard? Was that something like, hey, Gene, we should do She's So European, which you did?
Some took more selling than others. He was really brave and very cool and open about doing 95% of the ones that we suggested. Really, there wasn't many that he was like, no. But yeah, some took more selling. Like She's So European took a little sell. Love Theme was pretty easy. He pretty much just did that one. Was like, yeah, that's good. So no, he was super easy about that stuff.
What's that like, walking up to him and going, hey, can we do She's So European? And then he's like, no, but then eventually he says yes. And then you're on stage going, seriously, like Kiss only played this maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it was really fun. The first Cleveland show that we did, like the first show in front of Kiss fans that we did, was the ones where we had Charisma, Got Love for Sale. I forget what the other ones were. Radioactive and that kind of thing. So we knew what we had, and it was a lot of fun, because at that point they'd never been played live.
Wow.
On a cruise or anything, because we were picking ones that weren't on cruises or anything. So yeah, it was that was the cool thing with him, and him being so cool and asking. That's how it started. He asked us what we could play. Like when we did the Vancouver gig was the first one, and that was we did some R&B covers because that wasn't in front of Kiss fans, but for the Cleveland one, he reached out to us and said, "What are some cool tunes that we can do?"
Well, that's awesome. Somebody wants to know if you were playing Gene's bass last night.
That was the one he played
Acoustic.
on Unplugged. So yes,
Yeah.
it was the same bass.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
All right,
it's
so
in FIR in Nashville.
that is the cool thing about doing Podcast Rock City live. It is live and for you guys out there that are just hearing this on the rebroadcast, you can come and watch it. And every Sunday at 7 p.m., we show the show live on Facebook and on YouTube, and you could participate in the show. And if you have any ideas for anything that you would like us to talk about, you could send them to, you ready, Sonny? Podcast Rock City 1.
Who are you talking to? That's the number one. I'm always ready.
At gmail.com. Podcast Rock City 1. That's the number 1 at gmail.com. We have a lot more to cover, and we're going to do it. But let's go ahead and get to the topic of the week.
Podcast Rock.
I'm going to tell you, my internet's running really weird right now. It's because everybody now watches TV on the internet. So it's Sunday, and that's all I got. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to blame it on Dallas Cowboys fans.
Wow.
That game is when? 30 minutes, Sonny?
Yeah.
You got 30 minutes? I'll
Yeah.
try to have you out of here. Okay, so I got a message the other day. Actually, it's about 2 weeks ago now. It was from our friend Mike Brandvold from Three Sides of the Coin, the not as pretty one as the one that's always down in the corner. We're talking about Miss Martini. But he was like, "Hey, can you have Phil on?" We're like, "Absolutely." And I went to looking, and Phil has been an accept now for a while, right?
Since 2019. So
that is amazing.
A couple of year break, but yeah.
No, but that's cool. And you guys just got done touring overseas. I was telling you before we went on air that I'm not blowing smoke, dude. I loved seeing you in Liverpool. You were so excited to be there. It was like a dream come true.
It was a complete dream come true. From when I was like age 10, I guess, is when I got Beatle obsessed. And that trip was amazing. The whole summer was the best summer of my life. It was
Wow.
great. Everything I had a good time the whole time.
Is Europe back to normal concert wise? Everybody's coming out, no issues?
Yeah, no, we did have cancellations, but they weren't, it was other stuff. Nothing got canceled for COVID or monkeypox. It was fine. So everything was wide open. So yeah, all the shows were back to normal. Everything felt great. People were thrilled to be back. Not only being there, watching the shows, but working it too. So yeah, it was a great time. Great feeling. Those festivals are fantastic.
So we're going to talk about the North American tour. Brad Rustoven wants to know, is the set list going to change at all I don't know if you know this yet, but you may.
Yeah, I know. We're, of course, you got to play some of them, but I think we're doing a longer show consistently on this tour. So we've got to add some tunes. We'll probably add some, of course, and may change a few out. So yeah,
that's pretty
awesome. A little bit, I think.
You guys taking anybody out with you, or is it local bands everywhere?
There's a local, and if you give me a second.
I have it right here. Let me show you.
The opener. There you go. Yes. But I thought it's a 2-band traveling bill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There we go.
There you go. Okay, so here's the tour dates, you guys. So you guys, starting at September 29th, you're going to be in Tennessee, Nashville, home. So you just have to wake up in the morning and go. You don't even have to.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
That is
Houston,
great.
Texas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, El Paso, San Juan, West Hollywood, Las Vegas, Denver, Milwaukee. If you guys out there are love, just go see Phil. He's going to be in your town. Just go and support him.
Come on, see me.
Absolutely. If you want to get
Oh,
some
man.
tickets,
You better get some sleep on the 6th. You guys are going from El Paso to San Juan Capistrano.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're in a bus or something.
That'll be a haul. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I have no idea. That's a long drive.
Well, yeah, especially with only one day in between.
Yeah.
Wow. So all the way through October, all the way to the 29th, you guys will be going right through the U.S. That is amazing. And playing drums for you guys is Christopher, and he was supposed to be here today. We don't know what happened to him, but
I know he's with family. I think he's with family doing some things in one of the Carolinas, south or north.
He's been on with us. He's been on with us a couple of times. He is another huge Kiss fan.
Joe, keep scrolling. Is Columbus the last show?
Columbus is the last show.
Oh, okay. So that's the closest you'll be to me.
Yep.
Yeah, and the closest, and I don't see anything in Georgia, but that's okay.
The only Southeast state we have is Nashville, so you got to come. You got to come to us.
Okay. And if you guys accept worldwide.com/tour. Go there, pick up some tickets, and go. And there's a meet and greet experience. That's awesome. That's the kind of stuff that every
Phil, for $100, you get a ton of stuff for $100.
Yeah, it's a cool one. We pumped it up pretty well. Photo and hang out, meet us, and you get a goodie bag full of stuff. And yeah, it's a cool deal.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how did you wind up getting in the band?
Well, it's kind of based out of Nashville, except it's been based out of here for a while. Wolf moved to Nashville in the early 90s. He's one of the first kind of rock guys to move here. And I, of course, knew Christopher at that point. And Christopher got the gig in 2017, I think, or 16. Can't remember. And then I started getting to know, Christopher and the other guys in the band. And I did some fill-in work, some substitute work for Wolf's symphony thing he was doing. He had done a symphony project where he took classical pieces like Mozart and Vivaldi and arranged them for metal band and orchestra. So I did that stuff first, and then I did a tour where we did accept stuff and classical pieces. And then after that tour was done, Wolf asked me if I wanted to just join the band. And they just added me into the mix. So they just added the third guitar player. So,
and you were like,
but we have the six-pack now, yeah.
So, Phil, with you and Christopher being such Kiss fans, is like Wolf every once in a while, dude, can you guys shut the fuck up about Kiss? Like, is he done? Like, he's probably not a Kiss fan. So he's like, you guys are nerds. Get the hell away from me.
He's done. Officially, he's over it. but it is cool because Accept's first tour of the States was with Kiss.
Yeah.
In '84 on the Lick It Up tour. So he's got some cool stories about that. But yeah, he's like, oh my God, you guys.
I'll tell you guys what, how Philip knew that was the first tour. This book right here by Kurt Gooch. If you open it up and go through it, you can find out all that information. Finding out, I'll tell you what, no, I know I'm goofing off right now, but that book has so much like random stuff in it. It's amazing. So, do you have a favorite Accept song that when it's coming up in the set list where you're like, yes?
The new album itself is fun to play. I really like playing Reopen with Zombie Apocalypse, and that was a really good one. The riff is great. It's just, you come out banging. And as far as classics, Fast as a Shark is still kind of one of my favorites to do out of the whole set. It's just, I like to think about it like when it came out and it was so far, like metal was kind of here and it was getting heavier. And then that came out and it wasn't like a climb. It just skipped the levels of heaviness up like exponentially. And it's like it just came out of nowhere. And I don't know, it's just a groundbreaking tune, and I love playing that one.
So you were a power metal fan from the get-go? Because I couldn't get into the power metal, to be honest with you.
I liked it because I was, let's see, I'm probably 13 or 14 in like 88, 89. And so the stuff was kind of I just started playing guitar too. So that is important because this is all pretty good guitar music. And I got into, as far as like metal, probably like Master of Puppets. I heard that one first by Metallica, and that was an eye opener. And then I got Rain and Blood, Slayer, and that blew me away. And then so that was kind of my first metal I got into. And then I always didn't do Priest and Accept and all that. I kind of always and still do kind of prefer like that late 70s, early to mid 80s period of heavy metal when it still had like some rock and roll swagger, where it wasn't just all like heavy metal robots, that kind of thing. I liked it when it still had feel and groove and swagger, and Accept is definitely one of those bands.
I remember, it's really funny that you mentioned Master of Puppets because, I loved, rock music. I was an MTV kid. Although I loved Kiss, I still loved Madonna, Duran Duran, Michael Jackson, Culture Club, all that stuff, just because it was stuffed down our throat while you watched MTV. If you wanted to see a Michael Jackson video, you had to sit through 30 videos in order to get to, sometimes not even that many, because Michael Jackson would come around so often. But I had a friend, Kevin, that came to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to join this tape club." And he was like, "All we got to do is pay a penny, and then we'll just buy the tapes," which of course we never did. But I was going through and I saw Metallica. I had heard of them, but knew nothing about them. The tape came in. I remember I got in the shower. I got out. I put in Master of Puppets. Changed my life forever. I had never heard anything like that. And then I was so excited to find out that they had records before that, which to me are nothing like Master of Puppets. I don't think they're anything like Master of Puppets, but still changed my life forever. And it's really funny that you brought that up. Sonny, are you not a Metallica fan?
Are you kidding? Metallica was born where I was at, right?
Oh,
you don't have a choice. I was in the Bay Area. You don't have a choice to be a Metallica fan. Master is actually my favorite Metallica album. But, when I listen to Metallica, there's a lot going on. But, Phil, sometimes when you listen to Accept, it feels pretty straightforward. Is there a lot of stuff going on underneath, or is it pretty much punchy groove, straightforward stuff?
It's when you are, it's fun playing the songs with the guy or with the people that did it, because you're going to get all of that. And there's so many little nuances and things that are in there that you're just playing through it, and we'll go, "Oh, wait, no, there's just one little part there." And it's a little detail, but that's where you really get to sound like it and play it correctly, is when you get all the details. Remember, we were doing Fast as a Shark, and I was kind of working on it with them when I first started, was going to do these songs with them. And it came to that middle part, and I started tensing up and getting really fast and played it way too fast, like rushed through it. And he's like, whoa. Like, slow down. Just slow down, even the fast stuff. He's like, nothing is as fast as you think it is. I think it's like, it's Fast as a Shark. It's like, it's a quick tune. But when you don't look at it like that, you're not anticipating it, and you're not like, okay, here it comes. You're going to get excited, and you're going to kind of rush through a little bit, maybe not tempo wise, but your feel is going to be a little bit too quick. You lay back on it, and that's where everything kind of feels good. And that's what I always remember playing all of those songs, no matter how fast they are, is just relax. They're really not as fast as it sounds or it feels.
Let me ask you this, because I don't know how many times between Sonny and I, we've had to see you play live 40 times. Here's my question. How many songs do you know? I mean, seriously, when at the Rockin' Pod this past year, I had you on and I asked you guys a few questions, but I don't think I ever got to just how many covers, because you guys were in the
Man.
rock and roll residency, right? And
Yeah.
how many covers would you say you know?
I don't know where to start because you mentioned the residency, and we were doing a show every week, and we would learn new songs, not a whole show, but we'd learn new songs every single week we did that. So you start doing that, and then you add in all just the regular gigs that I have, and the other cover gigs I was doing besides that. And I don't even know. I really don't even know where, because even if I hadn't played it, if I've heard the song enough and can kind of remember and go, okay, well, I could probably play that one too. And it is a muscle when you start to flex it. And it's like anything else that you do all the time. If you start learning songs on a regular basis, you can learn songs by listening to it once.
Sure.
And you're just so used to doing that. But no, it's an impressive catalog of tunes, I know for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. When I talked to you guys in Nashville at the Rockin' Pod, I remember telling you guys, that I'm a musician myself. I own a music store here in Georgia. I teach kids. It's what I love to do. But you guys are living that dream that we all. I mean, you're playing out and making money and making a living playing music live. So I'm sorry, I got something popped up on my screen. So I mean, was this always the dream, or when you started playing guitar, were you like, oh, one day I'll be in a band, or were you just like, I just want to play guitar?
It was in a band first. That was the first thing, because that was when rock bands still were rock bands. Like in 88, 90, and even when I was in high school, when, bands could still be big bands, that was the goal. Somewhere between then and my entrance into Nashville in 2004, that kind of went away for bands, and it became easy, or easier, not easy. It became easier for me and a more doable goal for me to be just a for hire guitar player, and I was in the right town to do it. I was already living here in Nashville, in the Nashville area, when I was still doing the band thing, and then an opportunity came for me to get a gig with a country artist and an audition. I was like, well, sure, I'll do that. And I always liked learning songs. I could do it quickly, and that's how I got into the for hire thing. But
wow.
Yeah. But it's great. It's great. It's like now my goal is I don't know, just kind of stay where I'm at. Maybe, I don't know. I'm really happy with everything. The Accept gig is fantastic, and I'm playing with Wolf Hoffman, and
right,
and Christopher and the other friends of mine in the band now. But I've known Christopher for 15 years maybe now or something. Wow. And we've done countless gigs together, and he's like me, ask him the same question, how many songs you know? Yeah. He's not gonna know what the hell to say. He's the kind of player I am, we'll play with anybody.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you hear musicians about, creativity, and the creativity is important, and et cetera, and then you hear fans about, well, they should do new music all the time because that's the right thing to do, and that's what they're supposed to do for a living. But it's also supposed to be a job, right, that you pay your bills with. And if you can just play songs and be a guitar, because it's not easy to do what you do. You still got to have talent. I mean, there's no way around that, right? And the business doesn't really is not conducive to right now being creative and making money doing it. So you know what? Guitar for hire is cool.
Exactly. It's always am thankful that I'm not a singer, because it's way harder to get gigs as a singer, if you're not going to be an artist and a front person. So I'm always like I'm a guitar player. I can play with anybody. I can stand in the back and just do, if needed, I can just play whatever. And I know my role. It's important I've been a side guy for, the only money I've made as a musician has been as a side guitar player. Yeah. So it's not a problem for me not to be, singing my heart out of these, singing my children to people. I'm not that kind of a person, I just I like playing guitar, and I like making money playing guitar even more. So.
Sure. No,
you guys,
I'm with you.
you guys doing sound check, is Wolf like pretty boring doing accept songs, or you guys like sound checking the Culture Club, or like what do you guys sound checking to?
Here's the best part: we don't sound check.
Really?
That's one of the best parts about the whole gig.
Oh wow!
Wow.
I'm off all day until showtime, so it's pretty
Wow! All righty then.
nice. Yeah.
Here's a question from G. John Clark. Has learning so many songs over the years change or influence your style?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Learning songs and also doing the gigs that you learn those songs for, because if you're playing all kinds of different things, you get, your education gets, gets broader, and you're going to learn something from every gig that you do, even if it isn't your favorite style of music. If you go through it and stick with it and do the gig and know, I'm going to get something out of this, you'll get a positive out of it. You always will. Anytime you can grow, it's a good thing. So yeah, the more music you can play, the better.
Yeah, I had a student recently go, I really want to learn how to sweep. And I was like, well, who do you listen to that does that? And he told me, and I was like, I said, there's a chance they were a Chet Atkins fan. And I was like, and the kid was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, let's watch this video. And it was Chet Atkins and Jerry Reed playing guitar, and Chet's, and he's like, what the hell? And I'm like, yeah, that's how that works, man. If you, if so this is where I'm going with this. So I told him, what you want to do is go down a rabbit hole, find your favorite guitar player, find out who his favorite guitar or her favorite, I got to watch out, her favorite guitar player was, and then keep going down that rabbit hole and see where you end up. So Phil, when you picked up the guitar, why?
It was a picture of Joe Perry. It was a photograph. It was on live bootleg, and it's the shots where he's got two guitars on. He's like got a guitar on his back. It was during No More No More. The song is in a different tuning than the solos, the standard. So he would have two guitars on, and it's taken from behind him, and he's facing the drums, and he's got tight leather pants tucked into cowboy boots, a white button up tied at the midriff. I think he's got it's either a Strat and a Les Paul. I forget which one is on his back, but as a 4-year-old kid, that just burned that impression in my brain. And I was like, I'm going to do that. And I liked Aerosmith too. It's kind of my favorite first band. But for me, influential, like on guitar, that photo of Joe was more influential than the sound.
What was your first guitar?
First guitar, electric guitar, was this weird Epiphone that I've never seen again. I don't know what it is. There are no photos of me with it, oddly enough. It was more of a hollow body type. It wasn't like a Casino or a Sheraton. It had a bar on it, F-holes. It wasn't like, a metal-y guitar, but I wish I still not really had it. I've just found a photo with it.
Did you say it had a barn on it?
Had like a wedding bar.
Oh, bar. Oh, okay.
Had a barn on the back.
Did you buy it from a store? Because that sounds Frankenstein. Did you buy that from somebody?
Yeah, it was a store, and I ended up taking guitar lessons. It was when I lived in Nebraska, and we were just about to move to Alabama when I got the guitar. I took lessons there for a little bit, but I swear it was an Epiphone, but I've never seen the likes of it since.
Coey said it might be a Wildcat. Coey said it might be a Wildcat.
If he has, I'll look up some photos.
Yeah.
Yes. Wouldn't that be cool to find
Wildcat with a K? Yeah.
Okay, I would love to find that. That's pretty cool. Thanks for the help.
That would be would be awesome. And now you play bass too.
Out of necessity, yes. I'm when needed bass player.
Now, okay, so guitar, bass, what else? Clarinet,
saxophone.
See, I knew there'd be something else in there. No drums? No drums?
Drums are my very first instrument because my brother Kevin was a drummer, and he's 13 years older than me. So when we lived in Wisconsin at this point, and he was in a polka band when he was in high school.
Wow.
And so the drum set was at our place, and the band would play, rehearse it at our place. So I was on drums because he would pick me up and put me on the drum throne and put headphones on, and I'd play Aerosmith records without touching the pedals, just by hands. So I did kind of start on drums. Then when he sold his drum set, that was it for me for drums. But funny story about this. Why I played the saxophone is because they wouldn't let me play drums in school band in Nebraska. To play drums, you have to have 2 years of piano lessons for the xylophone. I didn't have any piano. I could already play Wipeout, for crying out loud, and they wouldn't let me play drums. I could already out-drum every kid in that school, and they said, no, you can't play drums. What am I going to do? Because I had to be involved in it. And so I remembered Blue Lou Marini from the Blues Brothers band. He was my favorite guy of that movie. I loved the soundtrack. I was obsessed with that. And he was just the coolest guy. So I said, I'll play sax like Lou Marini.
That is crazy.
At 10 years old, I'm making these decisions.
Yes, that's awesome. Let me ask you this. Do you still have a saxophone?
I don't. I just sold it a few years ago. I'd never touched it. And it was just taking up space in my closet. Some kid got it that was actually going to play. So
tonight you're going to be sitting on your couch watching the Dallas Cowboys get beat, and you're going to be like,
oh, good Lord.
My God, I would love to play the saxophone right now. Okay, wait. Did you learn that? Did you know how to play that?
Absolutely.
Oh, Careless Whisper?
There's actually a video of me pranking Darius Rucker's band while going to the stage, running beside them and cut off denim shorts, playing that part. So it's on the internet somewhere.
Oh my God, we will find that. Okay, so I obviously got to ask a few Gene Simmons and Ace Frehley questions. So because otherwise people will go, he was in both the other bands. So all right, so when you were touring, doing that tour with Gene Simmons, obviously, the generic question would be like, was it everything you dreamed of? Or, was it stressful?
No, not at all. Gene was a dream. I mean, he was absolutely incredible. We'd never met him before. Ryan had, because Ryan was one to get the gig, but Jeremy and I had, and Ryan was still like, I wonder how this is going to be kind of working for him and working with him in a band. And he absolutely could not have been any cooler than he was. And I'm not exaggerating at all. He was the best.
That's awesome. And then I remember, like, right after that ended, you guys like just switched, and you were with Ace. And I was on that cruise, and you guys pushed him to do a few. He did Dark Lights. He did Torpedo Girl. If I could have walked on stage and given you a kiss right there, I would have. I mean, look, everybody,
rain check on that.
We will, but to hear Dark Light live is amazing. But for me, I love the Unmasked record so much, and never in a million years would I have ever thought that I would hear that bass line, boop 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 boop, and you guys played it, and it was so much fun. How you talked about how you had to kind of push Gene on a few things, but a lot of stuff he was open to. Was Ace like, I don't know, man, I know what I know kind of thing?
It was more of a thing with Ace to get the set list changed. With Gene, we never played the same set list twice, I don't think, or two times in a row. With Ace, it's a set thing. I like both of them because with Gene, it was very off the show was very loose and very, you never kind of knew what was going to happen. With Ace, it's like a straight rock show. You know what's going to happen. It's going to do this, which both are good because then you can really get good on the routine and hammer it home. So yeah, to get something changed with Ace, it was a different, I had to go to John O and say, well, I think he knows this one, and we'll talk to him. So it was a bit of a procedure.
Crazy. Sonny?
So, Phil, you're talking about all these songs. Last song you tried, you're like, forget it, I can't figure it out. Do you remember? Watch, it'll be like some Taylor Swift song or some shit.
It's never going to be Taylor Swift.
There's plenty of stuff that's just way, way, way too difficult. Now, I will tell you one thing. We did Painkiller at the residency one time, Judas Priest Painkiller.
Yeah.
And me and Jeremy were both like, I'm not doing that. So we got Dakota. We got Dakota Denman, a guitar player
Yeah.
in Nashville named Dakota Denman, just absolutely on fire. Looks like he was right out of '87 and plays like it too, and he can do all those tricks. He's a sweet guy. So we called up Dakota and said, "Hey man, come do the hard stuff.
Gotta get on
come do all the
stage.
heavy lifting."
That is awesome. All right, so you guys out there, listen, I want to make sure that I mention it again. September 29th, Nashville, Tennessee. Accept. You can see Philip Shouse and you can see Christopher Williams and all the guys in Accept playing live. You can get your tickets now. Go to the Accept Worldwide site and pick them up, man. It's going to be one of those things. You know, you this is your first tour with them, and you said in a couple years.
It's the first time they've toured the States in 10 years. We've done some United
Goodness.
States shows, but we, as far as a full-fledged official tour, 10 years. So
10 years. So you guys got to get out there, buy up the tickets, and go. I know in our comments, as they've gone through, there's been 2 or 3 people that already said they have tickets and they're going to be there. Actually, one of them
Awesome.
said a VIP, I believe. So
Oh,
that's
great.
really awesome. And
Can't
let
wait,
Phil
can't
know
wait.
that you saw him on Podcast Rock City. Man, Phil, we really appreciate you being here. Sonny, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, thanks for listening. First of all, Phil, thanks for joining us. I think U.S. super rock fans, right? So these are the rock fans that just love rock. Like, I can't wait for Wasp to come back. Like, I haven't seen Wasp in forever, right?
They
So
just
they're
announced.
yeah. So there are these club gigs that are going to happen with these bands that haven't been in the States for 10, 15, 20 years that would do well, and the fans will love it, because reality is I don't want to go see Crew in some, gigantor stadium. Like, come on, whatever. I want to go somewhere where, there's 500,000 people and everybody's a fan and they're all fans of the band they haven't seen in a while, right? I'm more of a Wasp guy than I'm an Accept guy. That's just who I am. But there's all kinds of those bands out there. That's why I love the Y&Ts of the world, right? So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the band's playing on Fire. The 3-guitar group is really, really, really cool. We worked really hard on that, and it sounds huge, and it sounds tall and wide, and it's just the band's. It's just great. It was fun playing every show.
Yeah,
that is amazing. Well, thanks again, Phil. I really do appreciate you being here. It's so cool to get to talk to you, and when I get to see you, like in Nashville, it's always a lot of fun. You guys are just silly and fun, and I love the fact that this is going to sound really weird, but I'm super proud of you guys, because this is one of those things where I know it wasn't easy to get where you're at. It is a struggle. It is an absolute struggle. And there are, and most of you people that are listening and or watching right now, you know what it's like to go and pay your money to go see a band and to see what they go through, just to come and perform for you, because this is what they want to do. But I promise you only know a snippet of what's really happening leading to that space. It's a lot of work, and we should reward them, especially now that everything seems to be opening back up pretty well, and we could go and see shows. If you're in Nashville or any of these other cities that Phil's going to be in, especially if you've never really listened to Accept, pick up a ticket and go, how about I try something new? How about I try something different? Instead of sitting on my couch and watching reruns of Friends, how about I get out, go have some dinner somewhere, and go see Phil play guitar? I think that would be an amazing experience.
I think that sounds like a great night.
It does.
Well
Absolutely.
said, Joe. That was really good.
Thank you. Okay, so you guys know what I'm going to say. First of all, thank you guys all for listening and watching. Last week, we had almost 13,000 plays and downloads, and that doesn't even count what we got on YouTube. On YouTube, we got 3,300 plays, and if you add those together, 86,000 plays. Thank you very much. And
It'll be doubled that this week because there's no fucking Casada here. Perfect.
Oh my goodness, Joey Casada. You know what I'm going to say? We love Kiss and we love Kiss podcasts. And you're going to hear that. You know what? I wanted to tell you guys that today, I didn't tell Sonny, but I was going to announce that Podcast Rock City is going to end. But I've decided to add 100 more dates, and you'll find out all about them very soon. And you know what I'm going to say? We love Kiss, and we love Kiss podcasts. You're going to hear the commercials for all the ones that we love right after this in 3, 2, 1.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.